Walt Disney Studios Paris, home of superior originals such as The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, Aladdin's Flying Carpets, and Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster, where guests are given the chance to immerse themselves in the studio backlot tour, where they get to witness the magic behind the hit early 2000s ABC show, Dinotopia, and black and white spotted cars from one of Walt Disney Pictures' most popular sequels, 102 Dalmatians. And of course, who wouldn't want to make a stop at Paris' significantly more expansive version of Cars Land, with a spinny ride? And how could one forget their amazing exclusive 3D attraction based off the film Ratatouille, that totally won't be duplicated anywhere else? Come with me as I... Wait a second. Who wrote this bullshit? Hey guys, it's Daniel James. So yeah, Disneyland Paris, more specifically speaking, Disney Studios in Disneyland Paris, regarded as the worst Disney theme park in the entire world. Yeah, well it looks like that might actually change in a couple years, or more specifically starting in 2021. In case you missed it, or you're a Disney theme park fan living under a rock, Bob Iger, Disney's president, announced that they are giving Disney Studios a huge expansion, which is pretty exciting. Disney Studios in Paris definitely needs help. This expansion consists of 3 new themed lands, one themed towards Marvel, the other one Frozen, and last but not least, a Star Wars Galaxy Edge type land, which is pretty huge. Apparently this whole expansion will cost over 1 billion euros. I don't know what that translates into American money, but it's safe to say that it's pretty high. And from what they said, this is the biggest expansion since they opened the park all those years ago. It just seems like Disneyland Paris, and especially Disney Studios, have a really long, complicated past that always had issues, and from what I understand, the Disney company bought all the rights to both theme parks. As you can see in the picture, the biggest noticeable difference is a huge lake towards the end of the theme park. It's pretty obvious that they'll probably have some type of a show go on there. The front looks relatively the same. We still have that awkward Main Street-esque entrance where it's like a soundstage that you walk in and you're transported into some mini version of Hollywood. It's pretty bizarre. From the back, I think it's pretty safe to say that the backlot tour that they have there is going to close because it's not in the picture. Another big noticeable thing that people are probably going to point out is that Tower of Terror is still there. A lot of people were worried that they were going to replace it with a clone of Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout like they did in California Adventure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up changing it anyway, considering it's right next to where the Marvel Land is. They're turning the Rock and Roller Coaster with Aerosmith into an Iron Man themed roller coaster. So it would make sense that the Marvel themed land is in that specific area where the Iron Man coaster is going to be. On the left side of the park, once the expansion is done, we only see the top of the buildings, which are just plain gray. And you can see a little plane model. We don't really know what's going to be there besides the Iron Man coaster. If you look at the building surrounding it, it looks like they're going for like a futuristic, high-tech-esque area, which could sort of be connected to maybe S.H.I.E.L.D., even though S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't really technically exist anymore, and just a training facility for superheroes. In that area right now is an Armageddon themed special effects show. That's right, I'm talking about the Armageddon film from 1998. Pretty weird for it to still be there, but I feel like it's safe to say that that's definitely going in favor of a Marvel attraction. Their version of Lights Motor Action is in that section as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if they eliminate that. If you look at the very top, that's where Frozen Land's going. Once again, information is really scarce. They just really gave us a concept art and said what's going to be in Disney Studios. The Frozen Land looks pretty large. It looks like there's a replica of the mountain in the film where Elsa created her palace, and then on the side we see what looks like Arendelle's castle, as well as a little Arendelle-inspired village in the front. This almost looks similar to what Tokyo Disneyland was going to do. I think it was supposed to be in Disney Sea, where they were going to build a Frozen Land, and it's just really interesting to think of the possibilities, considering what we have here in the States is Frozen Ever After, which wasn't really an E-ticket-esque dark ride. It used the same track as Maelstrom, which was the attraction there before it, and it's a pretty short attraction, so we don't know if they're they're just gonna clone Frozen Ever After and put it in that area, or maybe we'll get some type of a e-ticket dark ride for Frozen, which apparently Tokyo Disneyland might get in Disney Sea. And then of course there's Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. We don't know if this is gonna be like a cheapened version of our Galaxy's Edge, whether that be in Disneyland or Hollywood Studios, but there's definitely a Star Wars themed land being placed there, which is definitely a very smart addition to Disney Studios, and I feel will definitely attract a lot of foot traffic to that specific theme park. But the art that we got for Star Wars Land pretty much looks exactly the same as the other ones, but it does look like it's in a smaller area possibly, so there really isn't that much to discuss about that area because of the fact that we don't even know specifics about the attractions that are coming to the Orlando and California version. But we do know that those specific ones are going to have a Millennium Falcon attraction and an attraction based off of a very large battle, but you really can't tell with the picture that they gave us. Those are just the new lands that they announced. If you look in the middle though, it looks like they have a new main street. Like once you go past that awkward soundstage entrance, you see a very long strip, little food stands. It's kind of weird. I really don't know what they're going for. Also, if you look at their version of Toy Story Land, which has been there already, it's been there for a couple years, it looks like they're adding the Alien Sorcerer Ride. They're going to be adding more things as well that's just simply not detailed in the picture because of how large the picture is. I know for the version that I have, when you zoom in, it definitely gets blurry and pixelated. You guys could give me more observations. It looks like the icon is going to stay the same. They still have their own version of the Earful Tower, which was a water tower structure that we had in Hollywood Studios. They have their own version, but it's an exclusive icon now considering we don't have our Earful Tower anymore because it got removed for Toy Story Land. But that's basically it. Everything else kind of seems intact. I know the whole IP thing is pretty controversial, but since the studios really doesn't have too much of a history since I believe it opened in the early 2000s, I'm not really concerned about them respecting the history. You guys know my thoughts about IPs being placed in Epcot. If you guys check out my Future of Epcot video, it just really depends on the situation. The direction of Disney Studios in Paris seems to be going in a similar direction that Hollywood Studios in Disney World here in America is going, where they place IP-based lands. We have Toy Story Land, which they've had for a while. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is coming. They're getting their own version. Tokyo Disneyland is getting a Frozen Land. Paris is getting their Frozen Land. And who knows, maybe we'll get a Frozen Land eventually because, you know, Disney loves Frozen. And how could they not? It's brought them so much money. And of course, Marvel. They get to do Marvel stuff. And Orlando Disney theme parks tend to have a very limited amount of Marvel they can work with because of the Universal contract. But anyway, I'm just rambling. The future seems to be pretty bright for Disney Studios. I'm pretty excited to see what it turns into, and I'm happy that it's getting some TLC that it's needed from what I understand several years. And of course, Disney Paris is getting other things, like they're getting that reimagining of their New York hotel into like a Marvel-themed hotel, and I'm sure they're going to be investing in the Disneyland theme park that they have there, as well as a whole bunch of things that weren't announced yet. Once again, we're just going off the concept art. The only official attraction that we were given was the Iron Man roller coaster. That's it. And apparently construction won't start until 2021. That's what the blog post said. Pretty long time. And then just think of how long the construction will take. Oh, like this might not be coming until like the late 2020s. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. I'll be really interested to hear what you guys have to say. Click the like button. I'd really appreciate that if you enjoyed this video. Also, be sure to click the subscribe button if you want to watch more Disney videos. Click that notification bell if you want to be notified. And of course, you guys can follow me on social media at blackandblue572 on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Thanks again for checking out my Walt Disney Studios Paris video. Be sure to click the subscribe button if you haven't already to get more Disney theme park videos. And check out my other videos like the Future of Epcot by clicking on one of the video cards.